Keep the gas for y'all, pit bulls attacking y'all, marijuana stacks for y'all, remain unnatural. Last fall, back all down, dogs passing y'all, they're all magnificent practice, all stay at.
What's up, man? I forgot to mention. Not that, not that you're thinking about this or that you need to know this. These are things that I just simply do for my own purposes, but I don't really think about it as entertainment. Though maybe that's how some people might view it, just entertainment. My entertainment, like I see it as something. Anyway, what I wanted to, what I wanted to say, right? So recently, There's been a development in my life, right? Did I talk about this on TikTok? On my Instagram, every channel I try to do something different, uniquely for that channel. So I do this with an intention that if you're a loyal fan of mine, you would follow me on every channel and be informed based on whatever it is I'm saying on that particular channel. And so TikTok doesn't receive a lot of my grandiose artistic expressions at time. Sometimes it's other channels that receive that blessing of that I emit. What I'm saying is that in each particular channel, I do something different. Maybe I'll throw art on YouTube and a podcast on Instagram and a website link on another. You know what I mean? So if you're not following all these channels, you're always gonna be like a little off the loop. Because on this TikTok channel, I think I only keep it like, professional to the point where all that you can see on my post are basically stuff about music, poetry, and things that have to do with my merchandise. That's about it. But on other channels, I might get a little more personal. And so you might not see the personal. You might just see the entertainment. And so you don't know what's going on. But let me fill you in now that you're here. And thank you for joining, by the way. Teddy Bear, shout out to Teddy Bear. I'm thinking about traveling to Florida. So anyway, I was in a situation, right? I talk about it, I guess, in my IG channel. And like a week ago, I was provoked from some perpetrators who sought to get me to be violent. And so I got violent and sent the perpetrators to the hospital. But I got detained even after I'm the one that called the cops, thinking that I was gonna be protected because there was perpetrators who wanted to hurt me and provoke me. So there were like a couple of individuals who had it in them to try to like hurt me. And out of self-defense, I defended myself. The thing is, these individuals probably did not know that I was pretty good at defending myself, and it didn't work out for them the way that maybe they thought that it was gonna go down. So in mid process of me self defending myself, I say that I'm gonna call the cops to scare the unwelcomed hostility and violence, you know. And look how I got. And so when the cops come, right, I'm the one that gets detained, while the other perpetrators do not get detained. Now I saw this like as unjust, because, like I said, I'm here minding my business, provoked, and then assaulted. I had minor injuries, filed on my complaint and everything. But this whole thing like just aggravated me more, because when you call the cops thinking that you're gonna get protected, it actually did the opposite. And I didn't understand what was going on. Like, why was there such bias and like prejudice, you know? So I started taking legal actions, and I filed a complaint against the individuals, because the cops filed a complaint on their behalf, but they didn't let me file a complaint on my behalf. And like I said, the whole time I was thinking like, why are they doing it like that? Like, you know, like, this is not fair. And on top of that, the perpetrators are non-citizens. So I filed a complaint, and I start working on my opening statement. It's something that I'm gonna say to the judge. Now this situation is gonna get tossed. It's gonna be dismissed. I'm not even worried about it, as far as like, you know, me having to suffer some penalties or consequence. I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all in that direction. What bothered me was that I was treated unfair. And so these actions that I'm taking is basically just for fun, like practice on how to like stick it to the government, knowing that nothing bad is gonna happen to me. So there's there is a level of ease that should be in people's mind when thinking about the end result of this, you know. There's not. I'm like happy, you know, thinking about going to a beach and having a beer or something. You know, don't even, you know. So there's nothing to stress about. The only thing that triggered me was that I had to like practice to make my presence known as something that should not be treated unjustly or unfair. That's it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. The judge is gonna look at my thing and he's just gonna dismiss it or toss it. Throw it in the garbage can, and it doesn't do no effect at all. But in my mind, it does everything to please or satisfy my intentions, because my whole intention was that I didn't want to be looked at or treated as unfair. And me going through these legal actions and procedures is like an atonement to my soul, even if it's not recognized. But I know it will be recognized, because now they know for future reference that they're dealing with someone who's not an idiot and will take the necessary actions to get his point across. And so I wrote an opening statement, right? And for kicks and giggles, I posted it on IG. And then, because I know that they're watching, the government, and they're probably planning their next move on me and shit like that. But since I've already foreseen all that, because like I said, I'm very knowledgeable. If you get my book, like I said, you'll understand the mentality that goes behind the vessel that I'm wearing. Because you'll see that this is a guy who understands the system from the inside out, from the bottom to the top. So the courts and the words that they use on each other are familiar. Even if I'm not a lawyer, who has who passed the bar exam. Just based on so many incidents and coming across people like myself or worse, you kind of just grow up learning certain things and trades that you pick up on, as you live life. And so when you come with this knowledge and wisdom and you start to act with a certain type of weight, it forces people to react different. And so for kicks and giggle, I recited the opening statement, and then playing around, I said on my note, where you leave a note, I said part 2 of opening statement coming soon, revised by ChatGPT. So basically, I gave them an opening statement based off of my natural verbiage, with no editing, no correcting or none of that. Just my natural instincts, raw data spat to you on how I would speak to the judge in front of the court. And then, like I said, because they violated my privacy, so now I had to expand on my thoughts and express my vernacular in an audible way for all to hear. And then I did the opening statement of part 2 by ChatGPT, which was a lot shorter. And as you can see, this is the day is approaching, but gives me a lot of time to practice on how to have my thought process revolve in this matter. Always from the direction of not incriminating myself, not giving them substance where they can use against me in the court of law. And always with the mentality of thinking how the prosecutor might view some of my evidence, because I'm in the court. They're trying to press charges on me. Like I said, I'm not worried these things are gonna be tossed. This is just practice for me, you know. Me becoming a better lawyer or a better judge and all of the above. And so what this did, right? This is what I'm getting to. Let me see how many people. Okay, yeah. Y'all learning something. Y'all should be paying me, man. You know I got a Cash App? Y'all can send me something on my Cash App. The name is on my profile, like anything, like $1, $5, $10. Show some appreciation, like you would do if you was in a church, you know, and the guy comes with the whatever you call that, and you put like your money for the, you know, the tithes. Think of this like that, and do yourself a favor and make your way to my Cash App. Anyway, so I make this statement right on IG where I show my natural verbiage, and then I show the ChatGPT version. But I have 1,000. I have like 50K followers. You know, the thing is, this is when I realize how powerful my influences are, because my opening statement shows, I guess, if in their eyes, right, it would be looked as defiant, as someone who's defiant. And so they're labeling it as the world is witnessing, all the 50,000 followers and whoever more are looking at it like I have some aggression. And I do have aggression. I would rather say anger than aggression. The anger stems from the frustration of being violated of my privacy, and the frustration of being provoked when not necessary. So the anger, you know, stems off of the constant abuse of the government trying to take advantage of a free person. And the anger in me caused me to rebel or to fight back, which are my constitutional rights, to defend myself in the court of law. That's the anger, you know. So the people detect this level of anger that is coming from me, but the thing that I didn't realize is that I was real influential, and that this anger that I have, people tend to want to mirror me. They want to experience the same anger that I have, in their own way. So the tension around my area, at least speaking from my area, like I'm pretty sure this is everywhere, but or where my influences have reached. But if you have good senses, if you're really like a spiritual person and know how to absorb senses and stuff like that, you would pick up that people are tensions are high, and the hostility is rising. And I'm looking at it like with a knowing and more connected than ever, realizing that it's really just them trying to mirror my frustrations, and it's just facing me back, looking at me in the face. And so the sharpness of my awareness in this allows me to approach the situation a little more different with experience and wisdom. And so when I see someone who's trying to mirror and replicate my attitude, I remember it was because I did that opening statement. And then I don't look at them. I try not to look at them so frustrated or angry, you know, because I know they're just trying to be me. And then everybody got their own problems, right? Like I said, all this is me fighting in court. Like I said, I know the result. I'm not stressed at all. But there are individuals who are going through the same thing and they're stressing, you know, losing their hair, growing wrinkles. And so that's another reason that they get probably frustrated even more, because I know how to handle my emotions in a stoic manner. And you just gotta be careful, you know, because I think people forget, like, I've been in and out of jail all my life, prisons recently. I'm no stranger to getting persecuted for being righteous. And now that the book is out, it's becoming more obvious how corrupt the government is towards their behavior and biases and prejudice towards individuals like me, who are just free and a natural native of the state, you know. It really boils down to them being racist and not wanting me to fruition. Because over the years, you start seeing a pattern. And the pattern is, here's this guy who always fighting for his rights, defending himself over the same situations where it has to do with people not liking him because of his mindset. I even said while I was in prison, I fought people because of the belief that I have in Zog. I'm talking about people there doing time for murder, lifers, you know, sharpening up a shank as we speak, and me having a fight for my life. This has been going on since the early 90s, you know. It's nothing. The only thing that is different is that I get to expose my side of the truth in a digital format. And now there's a book about it. and it's being discovered where the world can read it, you know? But if I didn't make my presence known, the type of my story, the character that exists of that person who always is being treated unjust and repeatedly discriminated against, persecuted against, for being right, not wrong, as you can read the transcriptions throughout history. The mentality that is behind this persona is one of triumphant through all obstacles. And so you're very privileged to have witnessed even even this little video right now that I'm talking. You're very privileged. You don't even know. It's like talking to, see, it would be like, it's like you talking to somebody from World War I. Now, one of you, and I can say this with certainty, now, one of you ever talked to someone who was from World War I. And that is because they're probably dead. And if they're alive, they're like a vegetable or some shit. And so you're speaking to someone who's like that, but is sound, like whole with his whole mind. And you don't appreciate that. Not till it's too late. So the story is being exposed, where now there's light shed upon me, where this time around it might help, where the system will start realizing their ignorance and maybe stop being so discriminatory towards me. Maybe they'll stop being so biased towards me and showing prejudice and racism, you know. I mean, that's what I'm fighting for since the early 90s, like pretty much all my life. I'm hoping that there gets to be a point that they realize their mistakes and want to correct it. Kind of like what we're doing with the government, you know, by not by getting rid of fraud and abuse. You know, we're hoping that they get a little bit smarter, where they don't keep doing the same mistakes. Now, fraud and abuse is just one example. But in realistic terms, like as far as like the system dealing with the individual, I'm taking it personally and looking at it in a collective manner, where whatever happens to me is also going to happen to you. So you want the system to treat me good, because you know that you're going to be treated good. If they don't show me discrimination or bias, they're not going to show you discrimination or bias if you defend your rights. And all my life, like I said, I've been one who always fights the system, because of the the sabotaging on their part, you know. And I'm only getting better. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but at this point, I don't think I have to be one to prove my case or my point and come out on top, you know. And so, as this story unfolds and court day approaches, I'm just getting better with my verbiage or the way that I need to go about thinking about this situation. Again, always with the thoughts of not incriminating myself, and also with the thought of looking at how the prosecutor is trying to prosecute me, you know, without having the facts. Like, they're just gonna prosecute because that's what they do. And they don't care about what I look like or none of that shit. It's all a paycheck to them. The same with the public defender. It is my job to let them both know that they're both wrong and I'm not something to mess with. But like I said, with a knowing like this is gonna be like it's irrelevant and it's gonna be tossed, and I'm just practicing to better get a hold of how I can punch them in the face every time they violate, you know, without acting violent. Some art of the war stuff, you know, like Shang Tzu, just in a more realistic and modern kind of way. And so hopefully, Zog willing, and I am, everything's gonna work out, and I'll have some new. Well, I already have, but I can speak about something like new, where, like I said in the book, if you read my book, I've done this before. Like I said, I'm not a stranger to the court system, jail facilities, prisons. Like sometimes, you know, they'll smack you with some like numbers and figures, and they're hoping that the defendant like gets scared, you know, because they're getting hit with these consequences that they're throwing on it. But like, for someone who's like lived this and knows what goes on, you know, I might just be thinking about like, okay, when's commissary coming in? You know, you know, like our mentality is way different. So they're gonna learn that now, you know. But like I said, I'm not even thinking about, because like I said, this is it's an easy win for me. And I'm speaking from a place of knowing how the end result is gonna be. And so I'm not, like, you see what I'm saying? There are other people who are, and that they don't like that, you know. So this could be like a teaching moment. Like, so like I said in the book, I wrote of similar situations where I was doing what I'm doing now, just absent of technology. Because the last time I fought a case, right, which is written in my book, using Lemsey as the character, this was before iPhone, you know. I was fighting the court when I was like 18, 17 and shit. Over, and you know, these were probably like DUIs when I used to drink, stuff like that, and drive. And I'm over here standing up to court thinking I'm the one that was right, you know, that I'm a sovereign and they're violating my rights. You know, I was young. And you get to read that in the book and what happens. But as you see, decades later, still doing the same, But now with more wisdom and clarity, where it's not gonna be the result that was seen in the book. You know, if you read it. Um, so I have more skills, and I don't need to fire the public defender like I did the first time when I was like 17, 18. Because that's what I did. I fired if you read the book, man, like I don't want to keep. But yeah, I tell you what I did when I was like 17 or 18. And I don't have to do that this time around. This time around, like I said, all I did was an opening statement. And that should take care of itself. And this is before me even applying for a public defender. So the approach is very different, you know, and the charges are way different compared to what it was when I was 17 or 18. But Lemzy, the character that's written in the book, is an interesting story. He's an interesting guy, hey, because wait till Ezra comes out, man. You guys don't know what's happening. So yeah, don't assume. Wish for the best, and I'm doing this for y'all, so that you don't have to suffer. I'm a freedom fighter. I'm righteous. Like I'm not an evil person. I will become evil when it is righteous to become evil. But I'm not just gonna be evil just to be evil, you know? And I've been proving my conviction over the decades. Not only by standing on my words, but by constantly being imprisoned, going to jail, being handcuffed, detained, incarcerated, without it ever stopping or altering or diminishing my beliefs and moral standpoint, you know? Like, even when I suffered the consequences of being behind bars and all this, at the end of it, what you gather from the ultimate result of this character is that he is resilient. He is not going to change his beliefs. He is a freedom fighter. He is someone who shows conviction. He's patriotic. He's a citizen, sovereign. I don't know what else to, like, you know what I mean? Guy's royalty. You cannot take the light from him. That light is his. You can't take it. That's what you should gather from all the decades of constant bombardment of all this truth that's unfolding before you. That's what you should gather. This guy, you can't reduce it. You can't dim the light. You can't reduce it. You can't humble him the way you think he should be humbled. Because like I said, you could take all my possessions. You could put me behind bars where I gotta suffer like everybody else. And at the end of the day, it's still not enough for you to say he's humbled or something like that, you know? I'm humbled before Zog, not before man. Zog is the only thing I become humble for. And if you show respect, I show you respect. I think you realize I can speak very educated and very communicative, and I know how to speak. And so, like, there's an actual person behind this flesh. There's an actual human being. With thoughts and shit, like this guy has like real thoughts. So when you study the character of this person over the decades, you realize out of the compilation of the massive amount of data and evidence, it'll show you that you cannot dim the light that this person carries, no matter what, because he'll die for it. This is someone who'd rather die. Like, he'll fight to the death. Like, warrior, very, very warrior. Pleased to die for his rights. He'll do it gladly. In front lines, like, while the army is behind me, I'm the one that's first in line and rushing towards the enemy, while the others follow. It's not gonna be like this guy is behind other armies and he's running behind with them. No, this guy's ahead, and the others are following. That's what I'm hoping you gather from just years of raw data, constant proof, constant evidence, constant realization, realistic character, a real human, flesh, nothing fake. There's nothing fake. Like, I mean, you know how people put a face mask and then they start talking amongst each other differently when they're like at work, and then they're like different when they're at home. I'm the same guy regardless. At work, at home, at church, at the library, at the supermarket, in the cell, in another cell. I'm the same person that is this, in every of those other phases or angles or the corners or doors. I'm the same guy. Hey, it's still me. But unfortunately, some are used to being different people in different areas or aspects in their life. And I don't have that problem, because I learned a long time ago to center yourself. And you first got to take care of home before you step out of the door. If your home ain't right, what are you doing outside? What are you doing in the office? What are you doing in the school? What are you doing in wherever it is you are? You don't even got your house right. So, from the constant illumination that I've been spreading for decades, I'm hoping this is what people can understand and receive, instead of the manipulation, and we got to get him to dim his light, or we got to get him to think he's dumber than what he is. We got to lock him up. We got to take away his rights. We got to make him not like his skin, make him hate his color. We got to make him hate being this, that, this is where I'm hoping you realize you're not gonna win, and you just be like, you know what, let's just love him for being him, and embrace that. So yeah, that's I went in kind of long, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because people want to mirror your anger. So that you got to be careful because there's a lot of people out there right now trying to show some aggression towards me, and it's all because of my anger. But what I'm living through, you don't have to live. You just have to be aware enough to not let my circumstances affect yours in a negative manner. Of course, if it brings positivity to your life, then yeah, let my influences affect you. If it gives you some type of positive outlook, but if all you gravitate towards and grab from what I'm saying to get you to be more negative, then I do not condone that, and I am not for that. So, you know, don't listen to me and ignore me and go about your business. Don't even, you know what I mean? Just ignore me. Mind your business. If it's negative, you know. If it's positive, yeah, then, you know, take notes and use it as affirmations. Tell yourself daily, you are powerful and you're great and nothing can stop you. And I want to be just like him. Something like that, like he's my role model or something. I don't know. To keep you in great spirits. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time. That's that. What all that.